the struggle,
for our
great Nigerian workers, greatest TUC, of the greatest workers in Soleto, in Africa.
Issues and labor matters a very wide coverage that it deserves.
So we'll give numbers. You tell us your name, the media house or hand of consulting. Number 2. Yes, who again? Who take the tax shot?
My question is when you were talking about alleviating the suffering of Nigerians.
I think around April this year, you made a demand for government, to make sure that at least government will see.
Also stating few of the things we said now. Yes, this is next. Hold it forth and breathe before next meeting. But in April, when we did the agenda, we have to. But ever since that, we've had some engagement as well. In fact, the SY minister, this community now, there is a new addition to what we said in the last tax relief to Nigerian workers. So that tax relief will give you immediate benefits. We give the workers immediate benefits. What we think we want. But there's always room for engagement. So by the time we engage, and government now tells us that yes, we want tax. The National Executive Council of the Trade Union Congress of Nigeria convened in Abuja, Federal Capital Territory, on the 27th April 2026. The meeting reviewed the state of the nation, development within Congress, report from affiliates and state councils, preparations for the 2026 May Day celebration, and other critical matters affecting Nigerian workers and the general populace. Following exhaustive deliberation, NEC resolved as follows. Number 1, Iran-US war and its implication for Nigeria. NEC expressed deep concern over the ongoing Iran-US conflict and its far-reaching implications for the global economy, particularly its relation to energy prices, shipping costs, supply chain, inflation, food security, and foreign exchange stability. Council noted that despite Nigeria's status as an oil-producing nation, increases in global oil price do not translate into relief for Nigerian workers. Rather, such crises often exacerbate hardship through rising fuel prices, increased freight costs, imported inflation, pressure on the naira, and escalating cost of goods and services. NEC therefore called on the federal government to treat the situation as both a foreign policy and domestic policy emergencies. Government must take urgent steps to protect Nigerians in affected regions, curb profiteering, strengthening local refining capacity, build strategic fuel reserve, and ensure that any additional crude oil revenue is transparently deployed to cushion the impact on workers and vulnerable citizens. Worsening insecurity across the country. NEC expressed grave concern over the escalating insecurity across the country, including kidnapping, banditry, terrorism, communal clashes, farm invasions, highway abductions, and other forms of violent criminality. Council observed that insecurity has evolved into a major economic and labor crisis. When farmers are unable to access their farms, food production declines and price rises. When workers cannot travel safely, productivity suffers. When communities are displaced, businesses collapse and jobs are lost. NEC call on all tiers of government and security agencies to adopt a coordinated, intelligence-driven, and community-based security framework. Government must prioritize the protection of farms, schools, highways, workplaces, and rural communities. TUC further urged targeted support for displaced personnel, affected farmers, transport workers, traders, and communities whose livelihood have been disrupted. Fuel prices and local refining vis-a-vis crude supply. NEC reviewed the persistent hardship arising from rising fuel prices and reaffirmed that urgent government intervention is required to prevent further increases in the pump price of petroleum products. Council noted that the combined effect of global crude oil volatility, exchange rate pressures, and domestic supply constraints continue to drive the cost of petrol, diesel, and aviation fuel, thereby worsening transportation costs, food price, production expenses, and overall living condition. As you could see recently, that airlines, they have been threatening that they want to down tools and that they want to short operations. And as you know, we have a TUC affiliate. We have workers that are working in there. If these airlines short their activities, a lot of Nigerian workers are going to be sent packing. So, to all these, we urge government to take decisive steps. Yes, we heard what the president announced last week, that they are going to write off 30% debt for the airline industry. But we think some far-reaching approach should be taken. We think that some far-reaching measures should be adopted so that workers in that sector will not be threatened, so that they will have jobs to do. NEC therefore call on federal government to allocate part of excess crude revenue and above the budget benchmark to subsidize crude oil supply to domestic refineries, including the Dangote refineries and all other local refineries. This approach represents a transparent, production-linked intervention that can lower the cost of refined products without reverting to the subsidy regime that government has been shying away from. NEC also demand a 50% reduction in taxes on manufacturing companies and workers within the period to ease economic pressure and support productivity. Because when government comes up, for example, to reduce the taxes on manufacturing companies and to also reduce taxes on Nigerian workers, what that means is that we'll have more dispensable income to be spent on, on daily activities. Because as of today, the transport cost has gone up. As of today, the prices of food are all going up. As of today, we could all see the impact of this rising energy cost. So government must act decisively. Government all over all over the world, they are all acting, bringing a lot of measures to reduce the burden on the citizens. So the Nigerian government, the federal, the state government, and the local government must all come in unison to develop, measures that could alleviate the current suffering that Nigerians are passing through. Workers' welfare and housing loan scheme. NEC received with caution optimism the approval of welfare measures for federal civil servants, including the 10 billion naira housing loan scheme aimed at improving access to home ownership. TUC calls on federal government to ensure that the scheme is not hijacked by privileged interests. State governments are equally urged to replicate similar interventions and extend such benefits to local government workers, private sector employees, and retirees who continue to face severe economic hardship, electricity tariffs, and service delivery. NEC strongly condemn the continuous increase in electricity tariffs without corresponding improvement in service delivery. Council observed that Nigerians are being compelled to pay more for unreliable power supply, estimated billing, and poor customer service. The tariff ban system has further worsened the situation, with many consumers charged premium rates without receiving commensurate electricity supply. You know about the band A, B, C, and D. Those that are in band A today, most of the factories that are in band A, they told us at the beginning that they will be receiving minimum of 20 hours power supply. But as you could see, even at times, they struggle to get 1 or 2 hours supply per day. NEC insists that Nigerians must not be forced to pay for inefficiencies. Any tariff regime must be fair, transparent, service-based,